Alright, so with my heart problems in the past, it's hard to explain, but I do believe that high blood pressure has been a big contributor. I ate popcorn the other day, about 2 days ago, and I experienced some heart, tightness. I was feeling tightness, and that popcorn did have a lot of salt. It was very addictive. I got a big bag of it, and I almost ate the whole bag. But when I got towards the bottom, I was feeling some heart tightness. Alright, that's not a good feeling. That's clearly the salt that's at play then. Alright, but all the other stuff in the past, it's hard for me to figure out exactly what was the problem. I partly blame the environment, I partly blame infection, but then also experimenting with that protein powder from Walmart. I know that's contributed to some problems. Alright, that Live Fit stuff. So I really need to pay attention to salt. Though salt is a big factor in high blood pressure is a big factor too, with my problems with my heart when they come up. I haven't really been experiencing any noticeable problems except for when I ate that popcorn. That was pretty mild and it went away pretty quickly. That tightness. Alright, there's some cases though where that tightness lasts more than a day. Alright, and that scares me. And I'm not sure how much of a factor it is with the salt or whatever. But I mean, once again, salt has to be watched over. I have to make sure I don't consume a lot of that. That white salt, that sodium extract. It gets to be a little overwhelming with certain, and it can be easily undetected too with foods. You really have to pay attention to those nutritional labels so you get an idea that you're eating too much salt. Really pay attention to that because it is the silent killer. It really is, because the salt is a tasteless killer. So of course you're going to have the silent killer. All right. It's something you have to actually read the label and know. If the food is really addictive, I think that's a strong indication. Whether it's real addictive by way of sugar or salt, if you find that you're compelled to eat it and you just can't stop and you haven't been hungry for a while, and almost if you're full and then all of a sudden you eat this new thing and it's just like you can't stop eating it, yeah, you're eating something that's in the problem territory pretty much. A lot of food manufacturers are specializing on that addiction and taking well advantage of it. They don't care if they kill you. All right, they only care that they make the money. They got to survive. You know, they're not a business if they don't have people who are craving it. So. And this guy who did all his turns and stuff, he should have just pulled over to the side of the road. Alright, there are a lot of awful drivers that run stoplights, beep their horns at other people, seemingly for no reason. There's a lot of red light runners. Alright, that's a big one. Speeders, I've seen plenty of speeders, just bicycling around. You can tell who's going way faster than the others. And it really is, the traffic, it really is a bad problem here. Alright, it's very congested. Cops have to deal with a high congested, terrible traffic area. Imagine on D-Day, if the soldiers back in World War II on D-Day were as fat as the soldiers are today. Alright, I don't think that war would have been won. Alright. It would have had so much struggle trying to keep up a good pace. They would have struggled carrying their own weight, let alone all the pounds that they had to carry for gear for their purpose. I mean, just yesterday watching those overweight soldiers try to run. I mean, don't people see that it's working against them? All right, they're exercising and then making themselves hungrier, and then they're going to eat more of their sugar that contributes to their obesity. All right, they're breaking their bodies down even more by trying to exercise harder as obese people while continuing to eat the sugars, all right, that feed the fat cells instead of their muscles. And if you keep increasing your appetite through the exercise and eating that sugar, that extra sugar extract, it's just going to break your body down even further, and it definitely slows down any kind of recovery. Alright, so when I look at my YouTube statistics and see that 90% of the viewers are male, over 10% female, I think I represent the unloved category by females. I mean, I gotta admit, my mom doesn't love me, and I say I'm neutral with her. Alright, there's no love, and I'm not gonna say there's any hate. It's neutral. That's just a reflection of the basic attitude towards me, towards my attitude. It's definitely not supported by females. It will never be supported by female. Has never and will never, historically and into the future. That's just how I've been living. And I must say, because of my unloving nature, and in a hot climate like this, my life will be cut short, no doubt. There's just no escaping the harsh effects that this lifestyle brings to the heart. Alright, without that close social interaction, you can't get that all with guys. Guys are just aggressive with each other. You can't get that. Alright, you gotta have an equal amount of love from all genders. So lacking that is going to cut my life short, just as Dr. Wheel proclaims with Living Well or something, with his books, with his knowledge. You got to have close social interactions. That's the biggest indicator of long life. Alright, and I'm lacking that completely. That's why I'm homeless. That's why I have all these problems with cops. I'm missing something. People could call that a mental disorder. There's probably a lot of truth to that, to the mental disorder argument. But I'm functional. It's not like it requires me to sit and be watched all the time by professionals. Although professionals are interacting with my life quite a bit, you know, on a legal aspect in a lot of ways. And yeah, I'm struggling financially because I'm not balanced in gender mix. I mean, yeah, I think my statistics are showing it really good on YouTube. Almost 90% male. I think a lot of that comes from the cops' interactions. Females don't want to watch that. They expect you to follow the law. They don't want to. There's nothing for them to revolt, especially the moms. So I live a very unbalanced life. Practically like a prisoner. I really have little patience for either gender, though. But I mean, who's going to initiate conversation more than males anyway? Females, not so much. They're going to be timid. But ultimately, I'm not really sociable with either gender. I'd much rather yell at a quail calling, or a cat, or just pet a cat if it's friendly. Look at a dog before for a human. I just, you know, there's a lot of variety in humans with faces and tallness and size and stuff, but I really appreciate seeing more variety with four-legged animals than the distinctions between our own species. I mean, humans are so similar anyway. I can kind of predict behavior, especially with the help of Chinese face reading. I mean, yeah, I can appreciate there's going to be personality differences between different appearances in humans. I think that's pretty clear. People want to focus on the similarities so that we don't isolate each other, but there are differences. But I understand those differences now through Chinese face reading. But they're not that fascinating to me, though. Because, I mean, yeah, there are the similarities, too. I'm fascinated by the differences with other animals a little bit more. Like the squirrel coming up. It doesn't care about me riding a bicycle or whatever. It just wants to get out of the way and do its own thing. There's so many more fascinating differences between humans or between other animals and humans. You know, it'd be kind of interesting. I've been reading this Lucy, this guy that discovered Lucy, the missing link for human evolution. Yeah, it'd be interesting to go back 1,000,000 years to see how humans lived. Now that would be fascinating with humans, but I mean, with social media and all these connections and stuff, it's like we're all looking at a lot of similarities with the social order, and it's becoming more predictable and kind of boring. The animals that don't really do social media are still more fascinating to me, but not as accessible because, yeah, they gotta be controlled because they do their own thing. They don't obey traffic laws or pay rent or own property. So we push them to the side, and it forces humans to have to look at each other more often.